Hey guys, and welcome to a few setups that I want to share with you. You might not realize at first how powerful it is if I just do the thinking particle stuff, but this also lets you properly emit sequence emission from standard particles even, and you can make well, the first setup I'll show you is going to be this. Obviously we've got to do XPresso, and we're going to be using the PStorm emitter, but we're not going to be using a conventional null. We're going to use a matrix object. Yeah, we just leave that there. So we want to get our matrix object in and use a data node. And we're going to use the count out of that node. So we want to create something to drive our iterator, which initially we're going to be doing with this iteration node. And then we want to copy those. Sorry, I moved away from my mic, and we also going to want to drop these back down here. So I'm going to drive this index, and now we want a PStorm node, and we want our position and our global matrix. And we also want, for this example, the shot port. This is basically a shot type of emitter. I'm not going to say you can't use it with count and rate, but thanks for that. Thanks for that. I love this bit. There we are. So that's that bit. Now if we put this radial, drop that to 0 and that for the time being, there's something else I've got to do in our PStorm node. We can leave some of it as it is for now, and we're also going to want to have our on port with a time node, frame port, get rid of that one, and initially we're just going to use a compare node so that we just emit on frame 0 and then switch off, which is pretty much where we should be at now. Oh yeah, we're at 0. Okay, silly me. If we bang that up, I think we can hide that. Okay, now I look like a dick. There you go. Oh my god, I might get censored by YouTube. So there you go. From the outset, you've now got a precision chandelier emitter. I wonder if we switch this to generators. I wonder if it might be snappier with changes. No. However, when you use this with the standard particle system, you want to be on generators for priority. So right, next up, word of warning, doing lots of different setups around the on port can leave you with a balk node that just won't turn on again. So the obvious thing to do is you just swap it out. I might try and come up with a workaround, but for the time being. So we're now just going to switch this so that if it's greater or equal to 0, and we've got continuous emission, and we want to not control the shot port at this point, and we're going to ditch that iteration, and we're going to change this node. Actually, let's just move that up there, and then we can, what do we want to do? We want to actually, let's just copy that, it's going to be easier. Both up here. Doesn't matter at all. Right, so if we do that, we're going to change this to mojo, and what is our count? 26. So we want to pop that in here. Actually, we don't want to do that, we just pop that in there, and then we drop that into our index and just double check things. So now, in theory, we've got something a bit different. So now we're basically sequencing our emission positions. So what's next? We can change the method to linear, for example, and then what, some numbers, I don't know, something like this. And suddenly you've got a emitter that's just doing that. Because of the nature of this, with a little bit of XPresso and a couple of step effectors, you can achieve Fibonacci. What else can you do? You can also get your particle data if you make a separate system. Let's see if we can just quickly demo that. So this might not be my shortest ever tutorial. If we just pop that in there and we point it up and take a PStorm node. I might need some coffee and then crack on. Okay, we better actually give it a group. And again, just make this short. Zero these out. Now then, if we get our data. And then drop our matrix object in and give it that global position. And then we better also just give these a group. What am I doing? This is one of those moments that could be really embarrassing. Okay, that's vaguely embarrassing, but I've had worse. No. I'm shaking because I'm so excited that you can emit particles really well from standard particles with this setup. I know some people are going to quite like that. I can't be bothered to change it. There we go. So, don't know if that was actually noticeable. So obviously if you set this up for Fibonacci and don't give your particles any speed, you can grow flowers on the tops of plants. You could also use this setup to kind of grow plants. No reason why not. So that's that. Standard particles. I don't know why I'm getting to that now. I suppose that's our upper system, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll get rid of that, and quite possibly we're now just sequencing from. We want to switch now to generators, and we'll be more accurate. Yeah, it's a bit odd. That doesn't seem right at all. I know what the problem is. At least I think I do. Yeah. Okay, we may have to do a quick change about, and that's unfortunate. Swap this back to subtract. Bring in our iterator. I'll have a look as to why that doesn't work. I haven't actually tested it like that. Oh, let's have that port in there, that in there, connect up our shot. And now we should have something that works. Except we've got continuous. So timing thing here. We want to get a maths node together. I don't know. What do you fancy? 8. Let's just bring that back. See if it's actually working, because there we are. So, I know I haven't kind of perhaps shown you anything completed, but let's see, what else? Although it's not normal practice, which is a pun, it's more of a tangential one. You can also use this to emit from splines, but there are some kind of limitations, obviously, just because you haven't got normals. Obviously there's much better ways to emit from splines, but I guess as we're putting these into a group already, let's just see if we put our excuse me, don't really need that anymore. If we take a field force object, and we put the helix in it, is this going to do anything? Oh yeah, maybe drop the speed as well. Yeah. Needs a bit of work, but what else could we do? What have I set this to do? Add to velocity. Yeah, well, you get the idea. You can't use this with rope. You can with like regular old legacy dynamic splines. If you want to use rope, you want to employ the, what you call it, Mo spline. So I think I've hopefully given you a few ideas at least. I'd love to do more, but I'm a tiny bit under the weather. But I might work some of this up into something spectacular. Apologies that I haven't been around. I've been doing 10 weeks of completely unrelated work, and then I just spent 3 weeks on some indexing problems. But I have come up with something really interesting. For those of you who are kind of heavily into thinking particles, I've come up with count outputs and indexes for the PSAV node. Obviously there's no ports, so it took a bit of Python and a bunch of logic. The only problem I got at the moment is that I can't resolve the count on frame 0 and frame 1 after you rewound, so there's just a slight limitation that you just need to begin your emission on frame 2, and if you're doing Python stuff, kind of work it in after that. The other current problem is that I can only what's the process? I'm creating an embedded cycle of iteration between the two groups, so as to interleave the data for live particleplex. But if I'm in AB to AB mode, currently I can't index the results I'm getting, but A to AB mode, I've got completely indexable results. So it was worth the 2 weeks I spent my head banging against it. And the other thing, I've also come up with a thinking particles data rendering tool for creating kind of FUIs and HUDs and that. And I've also completely updated catastrophe curve, so it now works. It's got a whole new indexing system, and it works in shot rate count modes. Probably some more stuff to come with that. So anyway, I hope you've had some fun. I hope that I started recording when I began this video. Hope you've had some fun. If you like what I do, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't. Like the video if you liked it. If you didn't, dislike it. Use the comment section to tell me why, because otherwise I just think you're a crank. Well, or a bit cranky. We all have our off days. And if you want to know more about any of what I've just shown you, just use the comment section, and I'll do my best to provide an update. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Have a great day, and yeah, April Fool's, joke's on me, because I've been doing this for yonks in a much more clunky, time-consuming way. So all the best. Have a good day. Bye.